same thing.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
untap X-1 lands for every corner bent on this card, right?
But
not really how it works.
Right, but it didn't seem like anything like severe, but you know,
yeah,
still 3 candles. So I at least had access to 1, is what I'm saying.
Right. So
this
I mean,
is
you know,
really interesting deck.
He's got a nice play group that I think could come up with that kind of thing.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this actually in action here.
Running down the rest of the spells and lands to give you guys an idea. 3 Candelabra of Tawnos, 4 Expedition Map, 3 Sensitive Divining Top, 3 Crop Rotation, 4 Moments Peace, which is the one he was really like pushing last night when I was talking to him.
Yeah, I'm going to fog you and fog you again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
4 copies. Pozgay, 12 posts.
In 12 posts.
Yeah. 4 Thirst for Knowledge, 4 All Is Dust, 4 Show and Tell. This is a really exciting list to me. So the lands, we've got an Eye of Ugin, 4 Glimmer Post, 4 Vesuva, 1 Island, 4 Cloud Post, 1 Flooded Strand, 2 Misty Rainforest, 3 Polluted Delta, 1 Tabernacle of Pendrel Vale, and 4 Tropical Island. And then in the sideboard, 3 Energy Flux, 4 Mindbreak Trap, 2 Crows and Grip, 4 Chalice of the Void, a Wasteland, and a Bajuka Bog. So, yes, he's playing the Glimmer Post and the Cloud Post.
Right.
So he's got 8 of them. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Someone asked if he has Sundering Titan in this list.
No,
he does not.
not.
The only creatures in the 75 are 2 Emrakul, 1 Kozilek, and 3 Primeval Titans. So 6 creatures total.
It doesn't seem like Sundering Titan would be a terrible choice.
No.
But
big guy disrupts your opponent's mana base.
But I'm sure that he I'm sure that he couldn't fit in the list if he thought about it. I mean, he's a good player, so.
Yeah, so this will be fun. I'm really excited to see this. Now, Chris Williams, pretty standard-looking Merfolk list. Just real quick, I wanted to point out he does have his 4 Mutavaults, as opposed to the list we saw in San Jose, which we Gavin and I called Sweet 16 because he only had 16 lands.
So funny.
Guy forgot his forgot his Mutavaults for his Merfolk list and made top 8 after replacing Mutavaults with Spell Piercers. Now, Chris's particular list actually has the 3 Spell Pierce in addition to the 4 Mutavaults, but that's not too crazy. So just to run down Chris's list, he's got 4 Curse Catcher, 4 Silvergill Adept, 4 Lord of Atlantis, 4 Coral Helm Commander, 4 Marrow Reejery, the pretty standard package of fish there.
Right.
And then his spells are 4 Ether Vial, 4 Standstill. That's one that you only occasionally see in Merfolk list, I think. I don't know.
I think, no, it's around a lot more now.
Is it? Okay, maybe more common than I expected.
So, Chris Williams starts with a island.
Zendikar Island.
Michael Pozsgay starts with a Glimmer Post that Chris has to read.
So yeah, the 4 Aether Vial, 4 Standstill, 4 Force of Will, 4 Daze, and 3 Spell Pierce. And then his lands are 4 Mutavaults, 4 Wasteland, 3 Polluted Delta, 2 Flooded Strand, 1 Misty Rainforest, 4 Underground Sea, and 3 Islands. So there's one of his 3 islands just on turn 1 for Chris. Turn 2, he hits the Mutavault and the Silvergill Adept, drawing himself a card. Did not see what he revealed, but I'm sure he had a Merfolk.
Pozsgay's going to drop Expedition Map. And another Glimmer Post is going to gain 2 life. Glimmer Post seems like they could just be
pretty
really
good just
annoying.
against an aggro deck.
Yeah.
He's already, just negated an attack from that Merfolk right there, and still is up a life from his starting point. Is that Expedition Map?
Yes, it is. It sure is.
It seems like
Chris has a second Silvergill Adept, revealing Mirror Reejery.
Probably the same card he revealed the first time.
Sure. He has a Flooded Strand that he just played as well. I'm surprised we're not seeing Stifle reappear in Merfolk. I don't know if the list is just too tight to run it, but
right on.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Stifle seems to be gaining in popularity exponentially, so.
I see Vesuva
Yep.
in Pozsgay's hand. One of those cards in Time Spiral that seemed like it could have some interesting applications, and here we're going to see one of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually pretty perfect for this deck.
Yeah.
I guess it's the 9th through the 12th post here. You know? Post 9 through 12.
He's going to crack the expedition.
I would venture a guess and think he's going to get a post of some sort. Right? And he does. That is Cloud Post. Cloud Post was originally printed in Mirrodin. Actually, only printed in Mirrodin besides the F&M version. And
Absolutely.
It's, for those of you who maybe don't know, it comes into play tapped, but adds one mana to your mana pool for each locus in play. So that counts those Glimmer Posts.
Yep, it sure does.
Which is significant because Glimmer Post is a new card. It's just from Scars. It's only been out a couple months.
I mean, next turn he drops the Vesuva. The turn after that he's potentially on a million mana.
Yeah, DI.
Yeah, essentially.
So that Flooded Strand grabbed an Underground Sea and for Chris at the end of Pozgay's turn, and now Chris on his own turn lays a Standstill and activates a Mutavault and swings in for 6. So Pozgay on got some pressure now and has some incentive to not play spells, but that's not really going to work very well.
Of course, he did just draw Show and Tell. I don't know if he has any big fatties in his hand right now, but
I haven't seen them yet, but I see Show and Tell. I see Island. I think was about the only other card I was able to identify before it cut away. Obviously, he's just going to have to play something here and allow Chris to draw some cards. But
that's a fairly good point. Somebody just asked, why is he putting his Glimmer Posts into play tapped? Because he was.
Yeah.
They don't come into play tapped.
Yeah, Cloud Post does, but Glimmer Post does not.
Right.
I thought he had turned it sideways so Chris could read it, and I just didn't even realize he never flipped it correctly. But there's Pozgay plays a Vesuva and Chris Wastelands, or he plays a Vesuva copying the Cloud Post, I believe, and now Chris on his turn Wastelands away the Cloud Post and swings in with some more fish. So the fish putting on the beats right now. Is that a Sensei Divining top
Yep.
deck there? Pozgay looks to be in some trouble right now.
Big trouble.
He's really only just, kind of he's setting up his posts here, but not actually interacting at all.
Yeah, he needs all his dust or
Magic
something
players,
right now to get
$10
back in this
draft
game.
number 1.
But of course,
Your draft is ready to start. Please come see Judge Bruce over at the event stage. Again, players in $10 draft number 1 to the event stage, please.
And with all the counter magic in Chris's deck, it doesn't seem like all his dust would resolve if he has it at all.
There's a polluted delta just fetched up a tropical island.
Or he basically needs to just try to do something big right now. Try to get it to stick. Okay, he has a moment's peace.
Cracks at Standstill, I would assume. Unless they...
And that'll give him an opportunity to draw into some counter magic. If he has it. I mean, at this point, he's well equipped to play around Spell Pierce at this point, but not Force of Will.
So that should put Pozgay to 2, I believe.
Should get him pretty close.
And there's a Curse Catcher.
this game seems to be Chris's.
Yeah, it really looks like, I mean, the fish deck did what it wanted to do. Lay down some pressure, drop a standstill. Pozsgay not interacting at all.
Yeah.
You know, until that moment's piece, which is arguably interaction, but arguably not very interactive at all either. Just kind of life preserving, and it didn't even resolve. So.
Right.
I think I saw Kozilek in his hand. So.
I mean, he can flash it back next turn. So I mean, he has ways to delay what seems at this point to us to be inevitable.
Yeah. He's not going to be. He's going to have to leave mana up for the curse catcher too.
He's got another Force of Will in his hand too.
Yeah.
Chris is another Force
looking
of Will.
like
Basically,
we're going to be going to game 2
yeah.
momentarily. Is that another? He's putting those into play tapped. Like.
Isn't there a judge right there?
Right.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, he can tap it but he can tap it for mana. You know what I mean? Like, so he's kind of. I mean, it's not doing anything that's gonna like help him. You know, putting that land into play tapped.
No, not at all.
I'm surprised the judge, you know,
is not pointing it out because it just unless did he just use the one that time? I can't see.
No, he tapped another mana for it.
Okay.
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, it does look like
he has
that.
another mana right now that he could use.
Is that something a judge is supposed to point out? He keeps putting his lands into play tapped that don't come into play tapped.
Yeah.
He's right. Yeah, but I guess it is. He just doesn't seem like he's using any mana.
He's not
putting
using
it into play tapped.
They're just coming into play tapped. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just strange here. So.
Sure, absolutely. So yeah, the force comes down.
Yeah, he did try to flash back the moment's piece, and the Force of Will took care of that. And
yeah, that's going to be game 1.
2. Yeah, that is game 1. Yeah, we're going to game 2.
So what does he bring in here?
Apparently,
obviously not energy flux.
We're hearing that the judge doesn't need to clarify this. Ben Hayes actually writing in from Twitter that there's no nothing, I guess, saying that he's not putting it into play and adding mana and just not using it.
Right.
You know, not saying it, not using it. I mean, I guess you could just assume that he's putting it into play, tapped to add mana, and just not actually using the mana. No, I agree. It's pretty clear. Ben says it's pretty clear he's not. He doesn't seem to know that it doesn't come into play.
Right.
So, but unfortunately, I don't know where
EDH game number 1.
Where the line is for that.
Please report to the event stage. EDH number 1 to the event stage, please.
Yeah, it's a very good point. He could have went turn 1 Expedition Map, turn 2 Kraken.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously hurt him this game.
Right.
Rashad's getting some clarification.
Sure.
Right
now it seems like you would probably bring. Did he board anything in? I mean, it seems like maybe Chalice of the Void wouldn't be a bad plan. Since so many of his spells cost so much. I mean, if he can get it down, he's on the play. If he can get it down, if he doesn't have a turn 1 Vial or something, he can get it down.
Right. It's not so good against Vial, but it's good against pretty much everything else.
If he has 1/1, it is good against Vial. You know what I mean? Like if the Vial can't resolve, then
we're getting conflicting Twitter accounts. Some people saying the judge doesn't have to say anything. Some people saying the judge does have to say something. So. We may actually ask the head judge real quick. Yeah, we keep seeing him put his glimmer points.
it does not.
It does not come into play tapped. Yes, Cloud Post does, but Glimmer Post does not. Sorry for the
Yeah, sorry about the delay there.
little bit of dead air. We're still trying to hear the conversation between yesterday's head judge, not today's
Right.
head judge, John Carter, his first name, and Rashad and Glenn. So I think they're talking about a couple different things here. So we're gonna find out. So, any clarification on whether or not? Okay.
Right.
So they are going to correct. They're going to let him know.
Yeah, they're gonna tell him about the cloud post. He's probably writing that
Pozsgay
down.
Yeah. That may be what he's writing down. Anyways, I don't know how quickly.
Your glimmer post does not come into play tap.
Right.
Yeah, I want to see this deck do a little more. I mean,
Yeah.
I like the deck. I think it's a pretty neat deck.
He's got. I saw some candelabras in his hand.
Okay. Yeah, is that all 3 candelabras? He's definitely gonna mulligan. I don't think it might have been all 3 candelabras. There's the third one.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I know I saw 2.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw 3.
That's a very brief description. It's actually not much more complicated than
This deck just has a lot of cool interactions.
Yeah, we didn't really get to see anything
Yeah,
happen.
unfortunately. I might have saw more if he knew that his glimmer post came into play on tap.
I think that's probably good news here in round 2. Maybe he may have played the entire round 1, putting those into play tap, and still
Attention players in standard winner box number 1. Standard winner box number 1 to the event stage, please, where Judge Bruce is going to get you started. Again, that is standard winner box number 1.
It's better he find that out. I'm guessing he's X1 right now, right? So, I'm sorry, I'm
XL.
guessing he's 1-0. It's only round 2.
Yeah, we've even got a rules citation here with 106.4a. If a player passes priority while there is mana in his or her mana pool, that player announces what mana is there. So you can't assume that it's mana. You know, he's putting it into play tap and adding mana, and then not. He's got to say something about it. And since he's not, it's that's just
Right, because you can't tap something for no reason.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he wasn't doing it to gain any sort of advantage, because there's
course,
no
right.
advantage to putting your lands into play tap when they can come into play untapped.
At least not in the cases that he was doing it. So.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, hopefully we've got that corrected.
Yeah.
And it's good it is early in the day.
Yeah, it's
He's
better
getting
they
his-
find this out now and then not like in round
good,
7
Good
or
for
something.
him, anyway.
Right.
Good for Magic in general. That players play their cards the way they're supposed to be played.
Absolutely. And it starts with a cloud post.
Which does come into play tap.
Exactly.
All right, and Chris starting off with that Zendikar Island. John Avon artwork. Love that one.
You sure do.
That's my favorite Zendikar Island. Yeah. And there's another John Avon artwork on Vesuva. And a candelabra of Tawnos.
We get to
Actually,
see.
that's not John Avon on Vesuva. It's Zoltan and Gabor.
Right.
Zoltan Boros and Gabor Zigzai. I don't even know how to pronounce that name, but I thought it was John Avon. I forgot. Anyway,
Next turn, he has the potential to make 1,000,000 manas.
he has the potential to make quite a bit. I don't
He
know
has
if it's exactly
he has
a million, but it's getting there.
Glimmer post in his hand. So
All right,
those will
here-
each make 6. So he can make 13 mana next turn. That's awesome.
So Glimmer Post comes down, untapped, gains him 3 life, right?
Right.
And then each of those make 3, which is a total of 6. Is that what you're saying?
There it goes. Yeah, exactly. So he can tap the if he wanted to, which he obviously doesn't need to, but he can tap the Glimmer Post, or he can tap the 6.
He could tap
Candelabra.
7, use the Candelabra to untap 3 lands, so he would he'd still have 4 in his pool, add 7 more, he'd have 11. He could have just played a Kozilek right there.
True.
I mean,
With mana to daze, to resist daze.
Alright, so Chris digging through his library right there, fetching another Zendikar Island. Gabe Lanciano disagreeing with my my tastes in island art.
Disagreeing with your opinion. I don't think you're allowed to do that. I'm just kidding.
All right, there's Muro Reedry and Silver Girl Adept is in for 2. Or 3. Sorry. Reedry does have that effect on other
does.
Merfolk.
One of the most expensive uncommons I've traded for in a long time.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Actually, well, no, I traded for Force of Wills. They were uncommon, right?
That's true.
Never mind. Scratch that.
Alright, so Pozsgay looking like he's trying to figure out how much mana can I actually add here. He's got another Basura in hand right now.
Yeah.
He's got a ton of mana. Can he do something with it? What does
Right.
he got there? I see Eye of Ugin, which is significant because he can search for something to play with all that mana.
Right, but it doesn't seem like he just has many things to
Actually,
play
yeah.
right now. Yeah.
I
All
see.
the posts.
Looks like is it 2 show and tells in his hand? Is at
I
least
think so.
one
Yeah,
show
I
and
believe
tell.
those are both show and tells. As he plays the other Vesuva, only guessing that he
Probably
copies
as a
the
cloud pulse.
yeah. Chris is thinking of his options here. So he's got another Reedry in his hand. He's got a curse.
Attention draft open players. Your pairings for round 2 are now going up.
In
Big
with the
swing.
Merfolk, yeah, it's
7,
a
I
lot of guys.
believe.
Yeah. Looks like 7 to me.
Yep.
Didn't Pozsgay take 3 last turn?
He did.
Yeah. Can we get a life total check, Rashad? I think Pozsgay may be at 10.
Did he copy the Glimmer Post or the Cloud Post? Because if he didn't gain life, he took 3 last turn from Silvergill Adept.
Right, he does. But did he? We thought he copied the cloud post.
We assumed, anyways.
Right.
He may have copied the Glimmer
We just
Post.
didn't hear what he copied with the Vesuva. Okay, maybe that's what it was.
Oh, that's right. Okay, of course. He was at 23.
Good, oh, that must be what it was, right. Good call. Sorry about that.
So Pozsgay draws a top, which will at least help him dig a little for his answers. Of which he needs 1 immediately.
Looks like he's going to use that candelabra.
All right, he's using the Eye of Ugin.
Okay. 14 mana in his pool.
14 mana
There's an
float.
Emrakul. Okay.
Searches up Emrakul.
I don't know exactly. I know when he
He's
goes
got
to
14. That Glimmer Post would make 15, but it seems like, I believe Chris has a Daze in hand, so... and he's got Force of Will. Oh, 13, good point. And he does have
the
Force
eye,
too, so
right.
he can force it. Oh, he can't. He can't counter. Right.
Awesome magic right here.
Yeah.
Emrakul magic.
Battle Cruiser magic on one side. He's running the biggest battle cruisers he can, I think.
Yeah, is he looking at notes there? I don't understand.
side 14 probably cost me.
He's looking at his phone with clear text on it.
Aren't they not allowed to look at notes?
Are they allowed to look at outside notes in between a game? In
He
the
was
middle
definitely
of
he
the
definitely
game?
just picked up his phone and looked at something.
A text file looked like.
So he sure did cast Emrakul.
There's
and he
the Emrakul.
sure is gonna take out 6 permanents.
I'm going to do the same thing. I'll gain 5
So
life.
gain some life here. That'll keep him in the game for long enough to win for sure, it seems. He has a virtual ton of mana. And
He's explaining how he's
indicates
going to win. Yeah.
that he's got the win right there. And Pozsgay takes game 2. So now we've got a match.
Right on.
Glad to see the deck recover, and we get to see exactly
Yeah, actually see
all
how
the
it works.
interactions.
Right. We want to actually watch it in action.
To me, it's a really exciting deck.
We just saw Chris Williams pick up his phone and look at a text file during a game. That's not cool, right? Right. It was while Pozsgay was playing Emberpool, he was looking at his phone, looking at the text. It was very clear on camera because he could see he was looking at a text file. So I don't know. Just seems like something. Yeah.
There definitely wasn't a life counter.
Didn't look like, not on an iPhone, but I don't know if he has an iPhone. Anyway, just something we're getting questions about.
So they're going to game 3 here. We didn't see any of Pozsgay's sideboard
we
cards,
didn't.
so not really sure what he brought in here. It seems like Chris Williams doesn't necessarily need Engineered Plague or Perish. Now, Submerge is interesting. Submerge could really slow Pozsgay down a bit. Imagining he brought that in.
Right.
He hasn't actually. Has he even seen a colored land from Pozsgay yet? I think he did at one point because he had to play the polluted delta at one point. But I was gonna say, I don't know. Hydro Blast is a stretch too. I think both of these decks don't really have too much in the board that deals with each other. Energy Flux is obviously not very useful against Merfolk. Now, Crozen Grip could take out the
candelabra.
Oh, his own candelabra. Never mind.
Yeah, I was like,
Because we would take out the Aether Vial.
Oh, that's what you're looking at. Okay.
That's what I was looking at.
I thought we were looking at Chris's side.
Right.
And I was like, well, he's playing Crozen Grip and Merfolk. Like, what just happened?
No, not at all. All right, here we go. Game 3. For those of you just tuning in, waking up a little late or something.
Maybe you forgot to set your clocks. It is daylight savings time.
It's true. You are watching Day 2 of the StarCityGames.com Open Series. Day 2 is the Legacy portion. We also have the Draft Opens firing up today. And we are watching Michael Pozsgay playing a version of 12 Post against Chris Williams playing Merfolk. And we're in Game 3 here.
Yeah, can't submerge an Emberpool, by the way. I did.
It can't be targeted, that's right.
Not by colored spells.
Man, there's so many things you can't do to Emberpool.
Yeah, 2-0. All right.
Edgar Flores has started the day 2-0.
2-0 with Team America.
He's, recently needing to play Legacy a little more seriously.
Yeah, sounds like he's doing pretty well.
Yeah, so far so good.
Right. Matt Damon. Sorry, Team America reference.
Matt Damon.
Since the song's in my head, but I can't sing.
Yeah, we can't sing the song, but we can make the Matt Damon reference at least.
Right on. Okay, that possibly he was looking at the judge's phone for Oracle text.
Ah. That's a very good point. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, well, we don't know that it's a judge's phone. We see him looking at a text file. I don't know how that's obvious at all.
Yep. I'm going to block this person because I'm pretty sick of them.
So, anyway, We have a Aether Vial from Chris on turn 1, and then Pozgay leads off with an Expedition map, which Chris immediately dazes. And has to return that island, of course, from that daze. But not really a problem when you have an Aether Vial in play to help out, and keeping Pozgay off of his, being able to search up his bullet lands. And there's a Force of Will for the Candelabra of Tawnos.
It's really coming down with the counter magic here early.
Yeah, it's just really keeping Pozgay from establishing any sort of presence here, establishing his land, his mana base, which is the deck,
Put it on the finds an island. Pozgay has some big creatures in his hand.
Right, now this is big. Like, Williams has a Standstill in play and a Vial on 2. That, he's basically now set up to drop the majority of his creatures with the Vial without breaking that Standstill. And Pozgay has no problem breaking the Standstill for him, so. But that's a nice, nice setup with the Merfolk deck, being able to
Lord.
Draw that many cards.
Into the Regery. And it looks like he's just going to start moving Lords out. He does go up to 3, so he can
drop like Regeries and play.
Get the Regery out, and he can also cast the other Lord of Atlantis in his hand.
Right.
So he can get down 2 Lords this turn.
And Pozgay has islands in play, tropical ones, but they they fit the bill. That Lord of Atlantis.
That's very true.
Lord of Atlantis was the first rare I opened in my in my first ever booster. It was a starter deck, revised. I only just, I kind of vaguely remember that occasionally. I usually forget what I opened, but I just remember just now looking at it like, oh yeah, that's right, that was my first rare. Or, one of the rares. I don't remember what the others were. Both players on 17 life here. If you're just joining us, I'm Joey Pasco here with Big Head Joe, watching round 2 of the Legacy portion of the StarCityGames.com Memphis Open Series. Watched some awesome Magic yesterday, and just starting off with some really cool stuff happening today.
We started with a rematch of the finals from just this morning of the Standard Open.
Yeah, Edgar Flores and Joey Mispagel played in the finals of the Standard Open and then played in round 1 of Legacy.
Yeah, good point. Chris did miss the
Regery trigger.
Yeah.
All right, so Williams with a lot of pressure right now. Pozgay is kind of tasked with putting something together pretty soon, because those Merfolk are really, not that the fact that they're unblockable is, relevant at the moment, because he doesn't have blockers anyway, but those are really going to start laying down the beats. Chris is running Standstill. And there's a second Aether Vial from Williams.
Things are not looking good for
Pozgay is now at 5 life and has to. It goes to. Wow. Oops. Yeah. Let the judge do it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that was As
He
a
knocked on the top of his deck to
he's
dream rip,
trying
and
to
he almost dream flipped his deck over.
trying to do the old knock the top of the deck and not knock the deck over.
Tap it very
Yeah,
carefully.
there you go. There you go.
There you go.
Very nice. And it's a Sensei Divining top. Says okay, that may be useful here. He's like not exactly the answer I was looking for, but maybe an answer.
That was very entertaining.
We need a bloopers reel for Star City Games Open Series. We could have Patrick Sullivan playing Koth while he has a Koth on board.
Is Alex Hatfield here this weekend?
I haven't seen him. I don't know. I haven't heard. Hopefully yes, and if so, definitely like to hear from him.
Yeah, for sure.
And hear if he's doing another doing some more surfing with the high tide.
Absolutely.
So Pozsgay tops, and fetches, cracks a Misty Rainforest, I believe.
Yeah, it basically looks like Pozsgay's digging to see what he's got, what his options are.
I think he topped and then fetched because he needs something else on top of his deck.
Sure.
Obviously. So here goes, activate the top again.
Let's see what
Okay,
happens.
we're hearing that Alex's next event won't be until Atlanta.
Okay.
So it looks like an All Is Dust, which he can't cast, and Moment's Piece, and which he can cast, and something in between. Is that a second All Is Dust? Two All Is Dusts? I think
Yeah.
that's what that was.
Believe
Two All Is
so.
Dusts and a Moment's Piece.
Somebody mentioned other bloopers. Bolt the Leech, Bounce Ruin Blaster. I've found myself bouncing Stoneforge Mystics on many occasions.
Yeah. Good. That's some good play right there. So, all right. So Pozsgay
Most of the guys
kind
delayed
of
an
trying to
Aeon
decide
Chronicler.
how to survive basically right now.
Well, he's got the Moment's Piece, I'm almost sure. So, sure.
I don't know.
Top for it.
Yeah, it's gonna say it's on top.
Right. So he's not out of it yet. But if Chris has the counter spell, then
There's a Moment's Piece, so he does top for it. Plays it.
during the upkeep, to
Yeah.
keep it from drawing anymore, it's a good, smart play.
And someone actually said that on Twitter. Called it. There's a Spell Pierce, and that's it. All right, good game.
Yeah,
Nice valiant attempt by Pozsgay, but
definitely.
the fish put on the pressure.
They did. It was a little too much for him to handle that game.
Yeah.